Trevs Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. It's too sweet. So, Wings fans, how long you been waiting for this day? Because I can tell you, I thought this was coming 5 years ago, 4 years ago even. But the wait is finally over. After 7 long seasons, which has to feel like an eternity for a lot of Red Wings fans, and no real results to show, the Red Wings finally came to a decision and decided Jeff Blashill will not be behind the bench next season. Let's discuss. So let's start with a brief history lesson, shall we? Blashill joined the Red Wings on June 9th, 2015, after the previous head coach, Mike Babcock, had left to go take the position in Toronto the month previous. And before that, Blashill had coached 3 seasons for Grand Rapids, Detroit's farm club, in the AHL, and had success at that level, winning the Calder Cup in 2013 and putting up 3 40-win seasons. So when he came on board, it was kind of a no-brainer at the time. I mean, their minor league guy was actually having success, but the AHL is not the NHL. But the idea was that, maybe the winning would transition to that at the NHL level. And that was the idea anyway. It's worth noting about this time, Detroit was actually starting to slowly decline. They were a team that, by this point, had made the playoffs 24 straight seasons, and we're definitely looking for a 25th. So playoffs were always the expectation, and while the Red Wings did make the playoffs in 2015-16, it would be the only time under Blashill that they would do it. And they finished that season with a 41-30-11 record. But while they did make the playoffs, they just barely made the playoffs. They had a tiebreaker with Boston to win that playoff spot. Unfortunately, that playoff success was only 5 games big, as they were out by Tampa in the first round. And unfortunately, it was the only time the Red Wings made the playoffs with Blashill on the bench. So, 25 seasons. And in between that time, no cups between 2008 to now? And while he did inherit a team that had the likes of Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg, they ultimately didn't last very long, as Zetterberg retired within 3 seasons and Datsyuk went back to the KHL after the 2015-16 season. So there was that. The other thing going against him was Detroit was in the middle of a rebuild, or at least in the beginning of an active rebuild. And those are the worst 2 words in any hockey language at all. And the coach had to be the right kind of guy, like the right kind of fire under the younger generation of players. And while he did come up with the likes of Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi and Moritz Seider, ultimately, the desire to win has to be there. And if winning equals this in 7 seasons, it's not going to work anymore beyond that. I mean, their best season was his first season. And after that, you could just see the slow decline, especially 1920. Yes, 1920 was a short season because of what was going on, and 2021 was totally affected by it as well. But even still, there was no way they were finishing any better than what they did, which was last overall, and they still lost the draft lottery. But yeah, 1 playoff advancement in 7 seasons, and no higher than 3rd. Changes had to be made. So, following 537 games coached with a 204, 261, 72 record, as well as a 1-4 record in the playoffs, I think Stevie Y made the right choice and said, hey, time to listen. Let's look for somebody new. It is worth noting, maybe for the purposes of this, that his tenure up until today was the 2nd longest among active NHL coaches, being eclipsed only by John Cooper in Tampa Bay, who's been there for 10 years. So In closing, I would hope that the next guy they choose to go behind the bench can bring back a good Red Wings identity. You know, one that isn't afraid to say, hey, play like the Red Wings from 98, from 99, 96, 97 even. If you have to dig that far down the barrel, at least the winning seasons, because it's sad not seeing Detroit be successful. It really is. So that's another one of Trevs Hockey Shows. Well, thank you for tuning in. I don't appreciate the gesture. Like I said yesterday, though, with the first video I made, the Jennings Trophy video, if you hate content, you're going to hate me. Because I got a lot coming in a short time. But either way, if you're here, and you're helping my algorithm, and you're listening to me, that's a great thing. Give me a like while you're at it. That red button, if you haven't pressed it already, that says subscribe all over it, you know you want to. You know I want you to. And subscribe makes you feel good. So why wouldn't you? Socials in the description down below. Moving forward, I've got some season end videos to make. But I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for moments just like this, because I figured at least one was coming. I'm glad one of them was at least in Detroit. But either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be looking for Dosen't Trev. Later.